What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. As you can tell by the beginning of this video, we are working on the crosskart again. Still waiting on parts for the Mustang. So, you know, in between waiting for parts for that thing, I am on my in-between project. But yeah, where I left off was we got the holes drilled and this rear cage off so I could test fit our fuel cell. I also need to pull the engine out of this thing so I can reseal the pan. All that is done. Actually put the engine in last night. Figured I'd run the wiring harness just to kind of figure out what it is that I had, what it is I need, see what needed to be repaired on it. It was in pretty good shape for coming off a bike that was wrecked. Just a few little plugs had to be repinned because they were pulled out. They were still in the sensors, but wires were yanked out. Everything clicked right back in. A couple wires had to be spliced. But other than that, it fired up. So my plan today is, like I wanted to do last time, got the fuel cell right here. As you can see, when we went to fit it, these were actually hitting the frame on the back right there where it sits. So got it marked out. We're going to go ahead and cut it out. Get myself a piece cut out of this aluminum here so I can get the back of it welded up, patched up, fit it back in the frame. Take a few more measurements so I can cut along the bottom, drop it to build a little sump for the feed line for the fuel pump. And my plan is actually to get that tank all mocked up, welded up, sitting in the buggy pretty much how it's supposed to be sat. And we're going to rig up the fuel system here real quick, just real quick like. That way we can keep this thing running. I know I can't run it for long. I don't have the cooling system rigged up on it yet, but I want to hear it run for longer than a second. So that's what I'm going to do. Get myself set up, start cutting up our fuel cell. Right, so here's what we got so far. There's the rear patch. So, like I said, not the prettiest. Didn't get it very clean there. Accidentally dipped the tungsten. Did the same thing there and there. But once I figured it out, once I got it clean and could get my hand steady, you can see I'm getting a lot better with it. Also went ahead and welded in a -10 bung on the top. The one that came on the tank was an 8. Didn't realize until I got it, so I ordered a bunch of these -10s. Got another one to put on the front here once we get the trough cut. Put the -6 so it's got a return. See? But still learning, still having fun. Definitely am improving, so that is a plus every chance I get. Those of you that follow me on Instagram noticed probably a couple weeks ago Posted one of these guys here where I was practicing on this stuff, which is definitely thinner than this tank. So with the tank, I had to turn the amperage up. So, but it is fun, learning, getting better. Anyways, enough of that. Come on over here. Now before we were hitting the outlets there, cut them off, did the patch job, set it up. So now it sits pretty close to being flush, which will give us plenty of room now. So I'll go ahead and get the front of this marked out real quick. Figure out. I think what I'm going to do is I sit it on the frame rails, and I'll measure about 1.5 inches, 2 inches over, make a mark. Same on this side. Cut all this and bring this bottom down, maybe about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. And then put this guy right in the center. Now that should definitely give us a little bit more capacity. Probably maybe somewhere around another, I don't know, maybe just under half a gallon. It's a 4-gallon tank. So if we get another half gallon on it, that'd be cool, or somewhat close to that. But also, because this thing is just a tad bit shy of being flush with the outside of the frame rails, I went ahead and cut a couple of these little strips here that I am going to weld in that right there on the side of the tank. That way I can cut a couple more of these brackets a little bit longer to come down on the outside of the frame rails, have a place to drill, put some nut certs, be able to mount the tank to the frame that way. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go ahead and get these, I'll put the tank back on, get where I want marked out, figure out where I want to cut it, get these tack welded into place, and start cutting some pieces to fit the trough. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Get all that measured, get all that cut. Be back in a second. Okay, so we got our pieces cut out, and as you guys saw on the video here, I have actually gone ahead and tack welded this thing into place on the corners. Started to go a little bit, realized I forgot to clean it, so gotta clean it. Got the side of this one tack welded into place. That one's ready to go. And you saw I cut this one out. See if I can get that set up in there. And that fits right up in there. I tried to cut it a little bit shy so I could leave myself a nice little groove there to fill in, get a nice good weld on it. But that's it. I got all the pieces cut. I'm going to get all of those welded up. Still got to get the pieces welded on the side here as well. Dig that out of the tank. And then got to put our outlet or our fuel line, our fitting on the front. So I'm going to do that here real quick. Get it all welded up. I'll be back in a second to show you what it looks like. Well, before I go, say hi, kiddos.
Hi.
They've been up here hanging out with me. So, matter of fact, this one's Samantha, and this one's Bailey, our little princess. They've been hanging out for a while, crawling under my feet. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get all these pieces welded up, and I'll be back in a second to show you what it looks like. I'm back. Tank's all welded up. Matter of fact, here's what she looks like in her glory. Got the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of which still is watertight. Already had it filled up with water, cool it down, and double check, make sure we didn't have any leaks. And we did not have any leaks. So, traded the two princesses for this guy here, Seth. Say hi, Seth.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. He enjoys being on camera way more than I do. So, here's what I got. Go ahead and set it in here on the buggy. Went ahead and got these little guys welded into place as well, up and over the frame. I still got to take a measurement, punch some holes, drill them to attach it to the frame itself, but I'm going to do that later. Got them going on both sides. There's the outlet for our fuel pump. My plan is to actually probably come off this and run it that way towards the front of the buggy when I finally get ready to decide to run the fuel system permanently. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and we've got a fuel pressure regulator, fuel pump, and a bunch of fittings that I've originally purchased for this buggy. I am going to actually just quickly rig up the pump to our wiring harness, the battery, get some fuel in the tank, get the fuel system plumbed up right now so we can start this thing up and hear it run for longer than a second. But I know we can't run it very long because we don't have a radiator. Radiator cooling system will probably be one of the next projects on this, one of the next couple. But I'm anxious to hear this thing run for longer than a second. So what I'll do is I'm going to get this all rigged up, get some fuel in the tank, get the wiring, everything done, and be back in a second to kind of go over what I did. And I'm back. All right, fuel's in the tank. Definitely got no leaks. Fuel system is all hooked up. Already went through and primed the system. Make sure we didn't have any leaks at the fuel pump, fuel pressure regulator, fuel rail, all that stuff. And everything looks really good. So, but before we go and start it, before I have Seth over here hold the camera for me while we start it and let it run for a second, I just want to go over what we've done. Some of you out there might want to do something like this in later in life, or somebody that just stumbles across this video is wondering how to do it because they are in the middle of doing this. So, and this is just a really rough rig up of the fuel system, everything. So, but anyways, so we got it coming out of the fuel tank here, goes all the way. Now normally you would have a fuel filter in line before you hit the pump. Normally I don't have one, so we don't have it. But if you were going to do this on something of your own, then definitely put in a fuel filter. But anyways, it comes out of the tank into our fuel pump, out of the fuel pump into this side of our pressure regulator, and this side is the out that goes directly into our fuel rail for the throttle bodies, and the one out of the bottom goes right back into the top of the tank for the return. Now I just have the one wire, the ground from the pump, going straight to the ground side of the battery, and then this wire, the positive side of the pump, goes into on this bike is a yellow with red tracer. The yellow with red tracer is the power wire to the pump coming from the relay. So, like I said, we've already, and if you wanted to, if you're doing this, because if you turn the key on, it only cycles for a second and then shuts off. If you were going to do something like this and you're going to try to prime your own fuel pump and, you know, to check for leaks for initial fire up or whatever, and you didn't want to turn the key on and off, you can basically just run the power wire to the battery, hold it, it'll pressure up the system, it'll kind of continuously go, it'll help you set your fuel pressure regulator before firing the bike up, or a go-kart or cross-kart, and it'll help you check for leaks as well. So, like I said, simple, basic setup. The one that comes in the tank of these street bikes, I believe, is in the $300-400 range, and probably at most, because all this stuff is off eBay, I think I might have over 100, maybe I definitely under 200, I believe. It's been a while. I'll definitely try to make sure to get links to all this stuff in the video, in the description as well, for some of you guys out there that are wanting to do this. But I know this fuel system wasn't very much. But anyways, enough talking about it. I'm gonna go ahead and give the camera to Seth, and he's gonna record as we fire this thing up. All right, ready there, Seth?
Yup.
Go ahead and pull this guy out of there. Oh, here, you can look at this too when we go to do the turbo. I just went, like, this is the crank bolt is behind this little cover here. I just pulled it out, drilled it, tapped it to a 1/2 inch MPT, used a little bit of silicone for sealant. So there's our return for the turbo when I finally mount it. You want to get a shot of our pressure regulator there when I go ahead and turn the key. Right there. Picks up. These bikes run at, or the factory fuel pressure for these things are 43 psi. That's factory for these. I mean, it's roughly 43 psi. I don't have a vacuum porter hooked up to this, and this fuel pressure regulator is turned all the way down, so it is naturally at 40. You want to hear? Go ahead and get a shot in there too, inside. You can see the return. All right, everything is good to go. Now I have to jump the starter solenoid on this because I believe it's bad. That or I have missed something. So I'm sure I'll figure it out as time goes on. Make sure there's nothing laying against the exhaust. Everything's good. Horn works. All right, enough playing around. Let's fire this thing up. What do I do with it? There it is. All right, so there you have it. We have a runner. Of course, I mean, a lot of this stuff, it's motivating. Definitely motivating to hear this thing run. Get that much closer. Want to keep going on it. Get a few things finished up. Still got to put a seat in it. Still got to finish up the steering. We got to get the cooling system done in it next, so we can run it for longer. It's good. That's about as long as I'd want to run it anyways without water in it. I don't want to push it. So, yeah, got to finish mounting the fuel tank for our fuel system so I can definitely figure out and finalize the routing of the fuel lines. I'm not sure if I'm going to run that pump or a different pump, but I mean, it works. It holds up. Got But yeah, we gotta get the radiator mounted, gotta get the fan mounted, gotta get linkage for the shifter. I still gotta do the rear brakes, brake lines, throttle cables, pedals, run the gauges. I mean, there's still quite a bit there, but it's a runner, so that's cool. Yeah, it's about all I'm going to do for it on it right now. So I'm going to end this video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this motivates some of you out there too to get out there and build some of your own stuff. Doesn't have to be big. You can start off small. Like my first one I built was that little trike down there, and then quickly jumped to this thing. So they are a lot of fun. Learn a lot on the way. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to end this video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new and you've made it this far, hit that subscribe button for me. Turn on notifications. Got a lot of other cool stuff coming. Hopefully in the next couple of videos I should have the parts for the Mustang so we can get that fixed. Either get it back on the track or the dyno. Probably the track. Just want to have fun. Again, thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch you on the next one.